Right, the studio is basically built around, you could say, three main areas. This is the first one, that's the control area, where you have the three screens for the two Macs that I run in the studio. The right hand screen is the screen for the Mac that gives me all the sounds, all the sampling machines, contact and all that, and all the soft synth. Everything is run on that Mac, which is a Pro Mac. And the two other, the center screen and the left hand screen, are the screens for the other Mac, which is a MacBook Pro, that runs only the program Digital Performer that I use to record and mix the music. In the middle you have two iPads and a fader port to control the recording. In the middle, at the back, you've got the two speakers, which are ADAM A7X connected to a sub, and that's the main area. On the right hand side, I've got those two racks. Left rack is the recording chain, the equipment I use to record. I go through that blue machine that you see, which is a Neve 1272. That's an old preamp that's been refurbished by a Spanish company in Madrid, and they put those old 1272 in boxes like this. It's a really good preamp. All my guitars go through that preamp. Then underneath you've got two AMEC Neve 1998, which are also preamps, but mainly EQ. Let's see if I can zoom on that. Two AMEC Neve EQs. So the signal will go through the 1272 preamp into the EQ, then into the Drummer 1960 valve compression, and that's my recording chain basically. Underneath you've got an Eventide H3000, which is a super multi-effect that I use a lot for really cool reverse delays or really spacey choruses or anything like that. Underneath you've got the sound card that I use in the studio, which is an Aurora Lynx 16 in, 16 out. Everything is pre-patched into the Aurora basically, and underneath I've got a patch XLR, which is basically only used for the in and out of the EQ, preamps and compressor, so I can chain them the way I like it. On top of the racks I've got two synth, Chord Prologue and Micro Chord, and here is the third main synth I use, which is the normal rack 2. So as you can see, I like buttons, knobs, because I used to use, like a lot of people, soft synth, but I don't anymore use them so much. Well, I still use them to do big, spacey, ambient, very digital sort of sound, but these days I use those three guys to create pads and little riffs and bass lines when I don't use a real bass. And here is the Mac I use to record. That's the Mac that runs the Digital Performer. And my drum system is very simple. It's based around an MPC element, which is very basic MPC system. It's I think the most basic one you can find on the market, but it works really well. I love the pads, very sensitive, and I can program real drums with this that sounds like really close to real drumming. And underneath I'm using a Korg Electribe, which is basically a sampler, but it looks a bit like an old-fashioned TR-626 or 727, I forgot how it was called now. But I've loaded the sampler with thousands of drum sounds that I had, and I love this machine because I can sequence drum like we used to do in the 80s, you know, like old-fashioned way, but I can, with all the buttons here, I have direct access to every sound and change the modulation, the filter, the resonance and attack, release and everything on each of the sound in real time. So that is very creative to create really funky drum loop, and it's really fast. This is one thing I have developed over the years. The studio used to be very digital, based around 2 computers and nothing else, and a master keyboard, and I've step by step went back to this idea of having knobs and things I can you know touch like this, so basically it's very interactive, organic, and in 5 minutes I come up with things, and it's always different. When with plugins it's another way. I mean, you can do it, but it's not the same, it's not as much fun, and yeah, it's not as creative. Powerful but not as creative. So I went back to this old-fashioned way of recording. So this is the second area. You see on the left you've got the main area, and these are the iPads and controlling the program. I will go back to this later. I'll have a little video just for that. Right, the third area in the studio is basically the instruments, the recording area. So you can see on the left here my trusty guitar. That's the one you hear on every of my tracks. In the corner you've got these funky drums that I built. I'm a frustrated drummer, I have to say. I love drums and I don't play drums, so I built this thing that I can play, which is basically a snare, a few percussion. You've got the darabuka, the djembe has a bass tom, you know, low tom. We've got another darabuka here, right cymbals and 2 little splash cymbals, and I play that. It's mic'd all the time, ready to go. Got another mic here on the left. So I play my right cymbals, I play additional drums. So basically my drums these days are always built around the same idea. I program things with the 2 machines you've seen before earlier, and then I would add some real element, or and that gives it a bit of a better sound and better groove. That's when I don't ask a drummer to play the full drum, which I do more and more these days. Here you've got my amp, which is a very simple Roland Jazz Chorus 40, and of course the rest of the guitars, well, some of them, because I've got more in the other room. The line 6 on the left that I use a lot, some jazz guitars, another acoustic, the precision bass that I use mostly when I have to play electric bass. That's the one I use, and the acoustic bass. Here, this is my world corner. You've got a Turkish saz, Portuguese guitar, which I love, oud from North Africa, and that's Simba sleeping. So if I give you a 360 view, it gives this. That's it. Drums and the guitars.